I'm dying to know. Like, let's just jump into this. What is relationship anarchy? That's like a loaded topic.
At the board. Like, I need to know what this is. I don't know.
There's a lot going on in those two words there.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
So relationship anarchy falls under, for myself, and the way that I think about this, falls under the same umbrella of ethical non-monogamy that polyamory does. Mm-hmm. The way that I differentiate between polyamory and relationship anarchy is that relationship anarchy, with each relationship, that structure is going to be defined individually. Mm-hmm. Versus polyamory, where I kind of think of it as a more romantic-based structure. Gotcha. Where folks are in like multiple romantic relationships at once, versus relationship anarchy, where relationships don't necessarily have to be romantic in order to be on the same playing field as, let's say, a platonic friend or a platonic partner.
Right. So your best friend is still a relationship in the same way that like your primary partner is a relationship. It's just two different types of relationships, but they get prioritized equally.
Yeah. So for instance, people who I'm sleeping with and have a romantic engagement with as well hold the same significance in my life as, for instance, my best friend, who is a platonic non-sexual relationship in my life. And in the same way, I try, not always great, try to prioritize my relationship with myself on the same playing field as my romantic or platonic or whatever other kind, like artistic relationships.
I'm not going to let that one just slide right by.
All right, let's come back to it.
I love that.
Yeah.
You're going to prioritize your relationship with yourself.
Have you not been doing that, John?
This isn't just a question. This isn't just about me.
No, but I mean, like your reaction to it seems like.
Okay. The reason that hits home for me is that it's something I've been learning about this year. Mm-hmm. And it's a phenomenal concept that starts to sound really obvious the more you think about it, the more you talk about it. But then you talk to other people about it and you recognize how little people think about that. And that we're taught to kind of like subjugate yourself for other people's sake.
Yeah. And
that valuing yourself as its own relationship is so important.
100%.
What was your journey to that?
Well, okay. So my mom has always said you need two individual complete people in order to create a whole relationship, as opposed to the whole like two halves make a whole type of thing. So that's something that has always stuck with me
from a young age then.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I mentioned this in the last podcast. I think I mentioned this in the last podcast. I was a serial dater for fucking years.
Yeah. Meaning one at a time. And that was the only person.
Well, for a while, it was just like I was a serial monogamist and I would date one person at a time. Okay. And jump from relationship to relationship. And then when I discovered that it was possible to date more than one person at the same time and it not be cheating, I was like, oh yeah, let's do that. So I just jumped from like partner to partner, or like had multiple partners at the same time at any given time. And was defining myself as polyamorous up until a couple years ago. At which point I started recognizing that my platonic relationships and my chosen family relationships were taking more of a priority, and I wanted them to be taking more of a priority. And I also wanted to be focusing on myself more. And I recognized that I wasn't engaging in as many romantic relationships as I was engaging in platonic relationships, and didn't want, and like, yeah, started exploring areas that weren't codified as polyamory. Mm-hmm. And started engaging with people who didn't necessarily identify as polyamorous specifically.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And that's it. I think that's it.
Yeah.
So that's relationship anarchy. It means that it's more than just, so polyamory is related to like,
I mean, it literally translates to multiple loves.
Yeah.
But polyamory is really more of an umbrella term for, it's kind of a shorthand of saying ethical non-monogamy in a lot of ways. And a lot of people do polyamory differently. Some people do it right, some people do it wrong. But polyamory is really just having the space to have multiple relationships, both sexual and or emotional, with multiple people at the same time without causing anyone to feel distress because they feel like, oh, this person's cheating on me or this person's going to leave me for this other person or what have you. So you have the ability to have multiple engaged relationships with people.
Right. And that makes sense to me. I'm trying to figure out how relationship anarchy differs from that.
So, for instance, my relationship with Vivica is a more or less platonic one. We engage in kink with one another at times. But for instance, if Vivica and I had plans for a Monday night and then, and like this is respect, period. But also if Vivica and I had plans for, let's say, a Monday night and a romantic partner messaged me and was like, hey, do you want to hang out that night or something? The importance that I place on hanging out with Vivica is the same importance as I would place on, for instance, if I were hanging out with a romantic partner and a friend messaged me and was like, hey, do you want to hang out on this night? It's like, no, I have plans with so-and-so and those plans are important. Or for instance, like bringing my best friend to a family vacation and that not being treated as less significant a relationship than if I were bringing a romantic partner.
Right.
Interesting. And that is outside of the umbrella of polyamory, and that's why relationship anarchy is a different term that encompasses more than just polyamory encompasses?
I think it's just a different way of doing ethical non-monogamy because like ethical non-monogamy is the big umbrella and polyamory is one facet of it and relationship anarchy is another facet of it. And they're kind of two sides of the same coin. Like you're still having multiple relationships with multiple people, but it's how you're prioritizing relationships. A lot of times in polyamory, there's a hierarchical, I might be saying that word.
That was perfect.
No,
You nailed it. Hierarchical. There's
right.
two cuz.
Hierarchical.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. There's a hierarchy in a lot of polyamory relationships where you have your primary partner and then you have like secondary partners, tertiary partners, and you have kind of this hierarchy. So primary partners get like the most priority, whereas in relationship anarchy, everyone gets the same amount of priority.
That makes total sense. That's why it's anarchy.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're removing hierarchy.
It is also important to note that not everyone who does engage in polyamory
does hierarchical.
Exactly.
Right.
Like for instance, when I was still using polyamory as like an identifier or a label, I was engaging in solo polyamory in which I was my own primary partner and I would have other partners, but I didn't want to cohabitate with a partner. I had no interest in primary, secondary, tertiary. Like I didn't want to engage in any kind of hierarchy. But there are individuals who that is their polyamorous model. But yeah, like E&M, ethical non-monogamy, is the umbrella term for anything that falls under that, which could be anything from swinging to polyamory to relationship anarchy
to just open relationships.
Yeah.
The don't ask, don't tells.
Yeah.
Although I honestly don't see don't ask, don't tells as all that ethical. I'm going to go ahead and throw that one out there.
Like to me, I don't ever want to be in a relationship like that. But if that's your agreement, that's your agreement.
Thanks for checking out this clip from our show.
To watch more clips or full episodes, click on our profile below.
If you want to stay up to date on all of our new episodes and videos, click subscribe.
And if you have any ideas for future guests or topics that you would like to see us cover on the show,
leave us a message in the comments or connect with us on any of our social media channels at Funtime Program.
Or on our website at funtimeprogram.com.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.